and you're cooking and okay, you mess up a plate and or you take 20 more minutes to make a plate because you mess it up and you have to do it again. Okay, it sucks. The client has to wait. But when you're in a situation like that, if you don't have your first 20,000 meals by 11 a.m., that means
kids go hungry.
Yeah, because there's a curfew.
Yeah.
And that means the food truck that's going to take the meal, it's going to have to wait. So those people are not going to be able to come to the place and get the meal.
Wow.
So the pressure is a little different. Also, like, and that's the only meal they're going to have a day.
Wow.
Because they have no other way to get a meal.
Have you decided what you're going to get?
Oh, yeah, definitely we're going to get one of each.
One of each. Got it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of One of Each. Thanks for being here with us. Remember to subscribe, to follow us. We're in every platform, YouTube, all streaming platforms. And again, thanks for being here. And thank you, Karla, my guest today, Karla Hoyos, a very good friend. We were talking earlier that this is going to be just another conversations that the ones we have probably like once every month or something like that. So, Karla, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks a lot for coming. I know you're super busy. You just came from a private event, and I know you're doing some other things. We'll learn a little bit more about it later. So, thanks for taking the time to being here.
Thank you so much for the invite. Such a pleasure. Very excited.
Thank you. And Karla, we always start with the same question for everybody, and that's how we kick off the conversation. You are Mexican American, I would say,
yes.
And now
and Spanish. If you ask my dad,
exactly. And you've done so many things. You've been in fine dining. You've been in volunteer work. Now you are an entrepreneur. You have a fast culture concept. But we always go back to the beginning, no? And in your case, how was that beginning? I know you're honoring your grandma with a concept in the future. How was that beginning? Where were you raised, and how that love for food started?
Oh, well, I mean, I've always loved food. I've always liked the idea of cooking or being in a kitchen. Both my father is Spanish, my mother is Mexican, so both cultures, and they're very, very passionate about food.
Big food cultures, both Spanish and Mexican.
Big food cultures. So when you mix them both, my house, I think also the time where the whole family, the whole time, like we will spend the best memories and time together, it was around the dinner table. The holidays around the dinner table, or my dad and my mom used to work a lot. So on holidays, we would spend it at my grandmother's house. So I have a very extreme, like grandparents and families. Like my dad's side, very Spanish, entrepreneurs, like higher class. My mom's side, they're farmers. So we would go from one house, from one grandmother to another grandmother, and of course the difference, like on experience, will be extreme. We'll still love it, but how you're always a little closer to your mother's side of their family, is your mom. So I would spend all of my summers and all of my like holidays where my family was working, my dad and my mom, with my grandmother, and some of the things that we would do in the farm without acknowledging like how amazing it was like, pick up the corn, grind the corn. She wanted cinnamon. We will go and like cut the bark of the tree to make to dry the cinnamon, or just make the cheese, or help them like when they're like milking the cows, or
and that was all in Veracruz.
That all in Veracruz. It's in a town that is called Catemaco. It's 3 hours away from 3 hours and a half from Veracruz.
So when you grew up, those were natural things for you. Like you pick the corn, you dry the spices, you milk the cows. So for you, it was very natural to understand where food came from and the importance.
It was like it's food, And then on my other side of like my dad's side of the family was like, who makes the best bacalao a la vizcaína for Christmas? Who makes the best, like between my aunts, and my grandmother is like, who makes the best? And there was like this fight, and there was, both of my grandmothers, they're amazing cooks,
Nice.
both of them. And since I was, when I was 12, I asked Santa Claus for a KitchenAid. I was that kind of girl. Like I always wanted to, like, if I travel, like, and I'll go to. I first time that I went to a Willie and Sonoma, like traveling.
Oh, it's like
And I-
Disney for
Yeah,
no.
and it was this thing I remember, like you would buy these spices, the Italian spices that you would put on top of the olive oil,
Uh-huh.
and then you dip the bread. Like I will be like, I'm gonna have all these spices, and I'm gonna make. I was 12, so I started a pastry business
Wow.
in my hometown when I was 13.
No way.
I learned how to make 3 pastries after I got my KitchenAid.
Okay.
Of course.
Of course.
One was choco flan, one was the brownies, and an amazing cheesecake. Okay, so
We
my-
need to try those and go back in time.
That's the beginning.
You got me a
That's
choco
like-
flan, seriously.
Yes, I made a lot, and so my dad sells alcohol. My dad is my family. They're entrepreneurs. They have wholesale of wine and liquors.
Okay.
So they make mezcal. They make brandy. They make rum.
Any samples around?
Oh, we can get you some. And so I told my dad, all the people in the restaurants. Tell them to buy my desserts. Like come
Yeah.
on. He's like, no. He's like, what I can do for you, I can open the door, but I'm not gonna tell him just because you're my daughter. Like you have to like make a sample kit.
Earn it.
You have to give him like a schedule. Like, and I was like, okay. So he will take me to the restaurants, and here I come with like my basket of like, this is a slice of my choco flan, this is a slice of my brownie, and I actually sold to like 3 restaurants, all of their
Nice.
desserts. I mean, those 3 desserts.
Sí, pero
But I
that
mean-
was that entrepreneurial spirit.
So I had to stop because it was getting in my way of like school. I was still in school,
Wow.
and my dad was like, no, like
First things first.
finish your school, and then I mean we'll support you and study whatever you want in culinary and but yeah, it was.
So you pretty much at that age you knew you wanted to be a chef
Yes,
and you
always.
wanted to go to culinary school.
Yes, I and at that age it was like culinary school was not like that. That I mean, it was not a girl's career.
Uh-huh.
It was not. It's like you want to be a cook, you can cook in your house.
Yeah.
Like go study law, go study something else. I was like, no, I really, I do remember the excitement. When you go into cooking school and you wear your chef jacket for the first time, and I get super excited. It's like, I started first with pastries.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to be pastry chef first.
Okay.
I thought pastry was. I think it's still super cool, and I have so much
It is.
respect for pastry. But as I got more into school, I learned to love the savory side.
And where did you go to culinary school?
So I went to culinary school in Veracruz, in El Culinario de Veracruz. I was the first generation in the school, like the first
Class.
Yeah,
Wow.
the first class of that school, because it was so new in my hometown.
And how many men and women were there?
No, I think it was 80% men,
Wow.
20% women. Out of the one, like I think me and 2 more women are the only ones that graduated. We did the licenciatura, we call it in Mexico, 4 years and a half. But my last year, I spent it on. So I won a contest on my second year of school, and the prize was to go with Martin Berazategui. 3
Wow.
months.
As a
So-
stagiaire.
As a stagiaire, that's my first kitchen ever.
Wow. Started pretty high.
That's the thing. That my first kitchen ever was a 3 Michelin star.
Wow. And then you did that internship, that stage, and then you went
And
back
then
and
I went back
finished.
to school, but then I went back to school for like a year, and then my last 6 months, year to 6 months, I did it with Martin, already
Okay.
working with him.
Okay.
So they were helping me with my thesis because I grabbed a lot of like
Ethics.
ethnic ingredients, Mexican ethnic ingredients. A lot of them were lost.
Okay.
Not lost, but not as used with colonization. And then I applied kind of like the latest culinary techniques because
Oh,
that was
nice.
my thing, like molecular cuisine. It was like at its prime.
Yeah.
So I did a thesis on that, on like the change of textures, like how do you eat a chile en nogada without it being a chile en nogada, or how do
Okay.
you eat like kind of like different
Interesting.
things. So while I was with Martina, I was working with them, and they will allow me to do like all these all these tests with these products that I will get shipped from Mexico. And of course, chefs, like, for them, they were like, okay, what is this? Okay, let's try, let's play. So yeah.
And you stayed a while in Spain, no?
I stayed for a while. I mean, the end, I spent almost 2 years in Spain. But
Because after Berazategui, did you go somewhere else?
I went to Recondo.
Okay.
I was working in Recondo. Recondo was one Michelin star. It has the biggest private wine cellar.
Wow.
One of the biggest private wine cellars, and it's kind of like the place where Martin goes to eat. It's the place where Arsac goes to eat.
Nice.
Actually, there was one day I was there, and it was a table of 8. It was Martin, Arsac, Adria, Arguiñano, I think, with their wives.
Wow.
I mean, go fit that table. It was like, I remember. And now then I met him, super nice. But after that, I went to Italy. I was in La Toscana for a year or so in San Donato in Poggio, like working with a nonna, like everything. I went from like the Michelin to like a super small kitchen in Italy.
And what called you to go from because after you're in a 3 Michelin star, you just want to go up. What?
I think for me it was like I want to learn, and I happened to have a relative that was in Italy, and some of their best friends had a restaurant, a very good restaurant, like traditional restaurant. I was like, I want to learn, and you're at that place where you're like, okay, I've been in Spain. Of course, that's what I learned. I learned Martin. That's what I learned, but I wanted to learn Italian cuisine as well. So,
but how old were you at the time?
19.
Wow,
20.
But it's very mature from you, because being in a 3 Michelin star is like the epitome of your career, and you wanting to learn something like from the nonna and the handcraft and another culture. It takes.
I remember the only thing that I had was Martin.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I knew. That it's crazy, but that was my first kitchen. Like my first week with Martin, I used to cry every day. Like I didn't know, did I pick the wrong career? I remember the first time Max, who is still a very good friend, he told me to chop parsley, and he gave me a white cutting board. And I, of course, I destroyed that parsley. I didn't chop it right.
It was all green.
All green, and he's like, and he started like throwing to the trash, and I was like. He's like, no, the day you have to cut parsley, and the cutting board does not have to turn green. Wow. You have to cut it, not smash it.
Wow.
And I'm like, got it. It took me a while.
No, and it was, those years in Spain was still like the old school culture of the stagiaire and like making them work crazy hours.
And like, I remember like one day I fell, and I think I had like a little like, how do you say, esguince, like a sprain?
Like a sprain.
I didn't tell anyone. Like I was no, I'm not gonna tell them. Like I went home that day, nobody knew, because I was like, no, I cannot tell them. Like I cannot skip work. We have 2 weddings, we have these. But yeah, that was my.
And what brought you to the U.S.? So after Italy, you came to the U.S.
Yeah, after Italy, I went back to Mexico. I started a catering company in Mexico. I love catering. And it's gonna be very bad for me to say. I was doing so good, and I was so young that I got bored.
Wow. Talk about like, curiosity and
I was like,
wanting to do things.
Like, is this it? This is gonna be my life? Like, yeah, money's good, but at this point I had only been with Martin. I mean, I was in France before, but I was younger, so it was not like I studied a little pastry before, but not on a like super professional way. And so it was Martin. I was in Italy, Recondo, and I was like, okay, of course. My mentality was like,
yeah. And that catering, what type of food would you cook?
So, a little bit of higher end. I got very well known for doing like the dessert tables.
Okay.
I was doing like amazing like dessert tables. I had my sister, my 3 cousins. I would put them on my room, turn on the AC, and I had them do every single bowl for a week. Wow. So of course those free labor. Like, all those candy buffets were like influent, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, so much detail." And I was like, "Yeah." So we will do quinceañeras in Mexico. The quinceañeras are big,
parties.
like a lot of like of course, the quinceañeras I would do was 600 people,
Wow.
500 people. Then, everyone had a theme. Like some of them like were Victoria's Secret quinceañeras. You even had to make the wings for the photo
Victoria's
shoot.
Secret quinceañera.
Oh,
Wow.
yes. Like everyone, like people, it's like a wedding.
Yeah. Venezuela is the same.
Like,
Yeah.
it's Latin America. And then my aunt, my dad's sister called me that she lives in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
She has an art gallery in Indiana, and the mayor of Carmel, Indiana, wanted to open a place in a certain part of the city because they have these like arts and design district, and then there's the Monon. There was the old railroad that will pass for certain sites, so
Okay.
it was always full. But they wanted to bring people to the other side of the arts and design district, so they wanted to open a Mexican restaurant. So here I come, and my aunt calls me, and she tells me like, hey, like they're gonna get you a work visa. Come
Nice.
here, help us set the place, stay a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have your work visa. And after that, you can do your green card. And my first thought, I promise, he was like, oh my gosh, after that, I can go to Vegas and work at one of those big hotels. I'm still super
Yes.
young, and all I know is like, yeah, I can do all of these.
And I'm sure
So-
there's great money and
Yes,
good experience.
but you're
Yeah.
young in year, and so I came to Indiana. I stayed for a year at the restaurant. They did my work visa and everything. So when everything was good, again, I got bored. Not bored, but it was like, okay, everything was good.
What's next? You're always like, what's next?
That's
What's
me.
next?
I'm like, what's next? I got hired as an executive sous chef for a company called Bon Appetit. It's an on-site restaurant company, part of Campus Group.
Okay.
It's kind of like the fancy part of Campus Group.
Okay.
So you're doing everything from scratch, from ketchup, mustard, like everything, but you're cooking for 3,000 people
Yeah.
a day. Different corporations, all of the Google kitchens are Bon Appetit, Abercrombie and Fitch corporate, like kind of like the higher end. 30% of what you buy had to be farm to fork.
Okay.
So here I go again, not innocent anymore, but innocent Karla goes into corporate.
Mm.
In a small town in Indiana called Greencastle, where the cooks are third generation cooks
Wow.
that had not gone to college because they have no money to go to college.
But they just
they're
learned.
feeding college kids.
Mm.
And a lot of them have scholarships, and they're not even U.S. citizens. I mean,
Wow.
I'm just saying because of the mentality
See.
of the people, so I go there as an executive sous chef at Bon Appetit. Of course, first day, a very nice salad department lady comes and tells me, I know you're going to be our boss, but you need to be patient with us. Mexicans wash dishes.
Wow.
We're not used to these.
And you are a woman, Mexican,
And younger than anyone. I'm
Wow.
the youngest in the kitchen. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. I was there at DePaul University, I was there for 8 months.
Okay.
The person that was my boss, also the chef, the other sous chef, I was executive sous chef. It was not a good experience. I mean, yes, I can name it as a learning experience.
Yeah. I mean, corporate
Maybe-
is a different word.
No. I love corporate, but I think the mentality there, is. I went through the, the very harsh, how can I say, not discrimination because corporate wouldn't allow that, but, the baker wouldn't even, I had to go through another cook to give direction to a baker
Wow.
because he would find it offensive to take direction from me.
Wow.
And I'm not saying this is a victim because I never played the victim role, but it was very interesting. Luckily, the district manager, I mean, I've always been the just shut up and work. 8 months after they promoted me, I mean, I was with the company for 5 years. I
Wow.
loved the company, and I ended up being the boss of all of them.
Now you
Yes,
listen to me.
yes. Yeah, you what? But after 5 years, I became the chef that they will send to fix the accounts.
Okay.
If they want a new concept, send Karla. Karla can help them. So I will travel all over, and I was kind of like the chef for the whole Midwest.
Okay.
And
Which is a different word, and you don't know the magnitude of that business. We were a couple of weeks ago in Columbia, West Columbia and South Carolina
okay.
at an event with Sodexo for schools.
Crazy.
they do like food for like schools in 2,000 districts in the U.S. And when you get into the cost of food, and it's fascinating,
Labor.
and it's also so challenging, frustrating at the same time. So I can imagine.
is.
I mean, you were your clients. I mean, you were in the higher end,
higher
but
end,
still.
but still, you have to have a certain budget. You still have to have. Imagine if they're asking you to do 30% of your product farm to fork, no more than 50 miles from where you're cooking it.
That's
But
good.
It's good, but that product is not the cheaper one.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you have to keep your cost down. But
Wow.
yet you have to. It's a all you can eat cafes also.
Wow.
So college students that are coming after playing like a game, they're not eating one chicken breast.
Exactly.
¿Sabes? They're eating. So it's different. I mean, it's a learning.
Yeah.
It's learning, and the CEO of Bon Appetit is very good friends with Jose.
Okay.
And that took
That's
that
the
led me-
connection.
Yeah, like so after 5 years, like I was super happy in Bon Appetit, but first I remember in that year there was the flooding in Houston. And I remember, like, I don't know at this point who Jose Andrés is.
Okay.
I just was watching this chef. I remember they put him on TV. He was at a supermarket. He was filling his basket full of pasta, like a lot of pasta. And I was like, oh my gosh, how is it? I was like, how cool is that guy? Like, but boom, I didn't relate it to Jose Andrés. It was Jose
Okay.
Andrés. That was Houston, the flooding. And I helped a little bit.
You
by, like,
volunteered.
I volunteered, but like I brought some clothes from Indiana to Chicago because I was like trying to see like what can I do. But
But
then,
what, did you talk to your boss to introduce you to Jose Andres, or?
then a hurricane hit Puerto Rico,
Okay.
and then I guess Jose goes to Puerto Rico like right after it happens, and when they realize how big this was, they call Fidel Baccio, who's the CEO of Bon Appetit.
Okay.
Fidel does not know me.
Okay.
He knows about me. Fidel is in San Francisco. I'm a Midwest chef.
Okay.
Bon Appetit has around 1,200 chefs. And Jose tells Fidel, send me 3 of your best people. I need them to set up a kitchen
Wow.
that goes from 0 to almost 70,000 a day
Wow.
in an island that just
Yeah.
doesn't have power, doesn't have anything. And that's when I get the call.
Okay.
So my district manager calls me like, would you like, we know you always like to help. Would you like to go and set up like the systems, help? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And they tell me, get a lot of underwear, get a lot of cash, buy a satellite radio,
Wow.
and you're on your way. I mean, we'll send something, you'll be on your way tomorrow to Puerto Rico. And I'm like, okay. At this point I have not.
Did you know what you were getting into?
Absolutely not. Absolutely no. I just, in Veracruz, we had a hurricane, I think, while I was doing the catering. And, like some areas were very affected. So I went to a center and I cooked there. So I never dimensioned like how bad Puerto Rico was. Like I thought it was something like, oh, we're going to go to a center and just cook. And then we're going to go. When I got to Puerto Rico, like it was a movie thing. People in the airport sleeping, I've never seen like the flight things. It was like cancel. The heat, like there was no AC on the the image was. I was like, what the hell did I do? I was like, Karla, you're adventurous, Karla, but this is too much.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And yeah, I mean, I got there. There was only one hotel running in the whole island, which had just been flooded until like the middle part. So you were still in a room with a lot of humidity. So you couldn't sleep. Like it was, but that's the only hotel I was running at when I just got there.
How long did you stay there?
Puerto Rico, almost 2 months and a half.
Wow. And good thing about Compass at the time, like you were still on a salary.
I
by
was still on a
Compass?
salary.
Nice.
They paid me everything. They paid like even when I like pretty much like I ran out of we couldn't wash clothes. There was no soap. There was nothing open. There was no water. Like sometimes when I shower, I kind of like wash my underwear. Like
Wow.
but we were also working from like 4 a.m. to like 7 p.m. And every day. And then when we get to the hotel at 7 p.m., we will have a meeting with Jose about like what are we doing next. I got to Puerto Rico. They were doing roughly 6,000 meals. In a week, we were doing 22,000.
Wow.
The next week, we jumped up. We did 76,000
A day.
a day.
Wow.
I set up the sandwich line for them. I set up the kitchen line, and I set up the paella line for them.
It's crazy because I'm sure you were getting a lot of donations of products and ingredients.
It is, when you're in a restaurant and you're cooking and okay, you mess up a plate and or you take 20 more minutes to make a plate because you mess it up and you have to do it again. Okay, it sucks. The client has to wait. But when you're in a situation like that, if you don't have your first 20,000 meals by 11 a.m., that means
kids go hungry.
Yeah, because there's a curfew.
Yeah.
And that means the food truck that's going to take the meal, it's going to have to wait. So those people are not going to be able to come to the place and get the meal.
Wow.
So the pressure is a little different. Also, and that's the only meal they're going to have a day.
Wow.
Because they have no other way to get a meal.
Wow. Let's get this out of the way before we go back to your trajectory. I know you worked for Jose Andres many years. You were a chef at Bazaar, but being in World Central Kitchen, and you still get those calls, and you still go. And I mean, I've known you for a while. I know you've been to Ukraine, Gaza,
Israel.
Yeah, Israel,
Haiti, Indonesia. See.
And how do you balance? Because I know you've seen bad things. I know you've been in literally war zones. You've been around like people who are starving, and then you hop on a plane and you are cooking a fancy meal for like a private dinner or in a nice restaurant. Well, just thinking of it, it's hard, no?
A lot of therapy. The hardest part, and I tell this to everyone, I think besides, when I've done a lot of disaster activations, like you can name it, like Turkey or Bahamas, or like either an earthquake or it was like a hurricane, but when you're talking about war, like
that's
nobody's ready for that, and I think. I use, I take a lot of therapy for that. The hardest part is when you're there, it's like you go in this bubble where like all you want to do is help. And then you go out there and then you help people, but you see more people in need and you see all of this situation. It's like trauma because, like when I was, my first experience with war, for example, I was in Ukraine. And first up, I was in the warehouse. What I do with World Central Kitchen is I'm the first one that goes in. And Jose will tell me, like, for example, in Spain with COVID, he'll be like, I already told the media we're making 10,000 meals. Don't make me look like do them. I'm like, Jose, but just do them. Make it happen.
But you do, like you set up the spaces, the processes.
Everything. So it also like depends on the space. Like in Bangladesh, I had 3 burning things with wood and the biryani things that they had, and that's what we need to cook. But so somebody tells me like this is how many meals we need a day, and this is, but everything has its limitations. Depends on what you are. Like as I said, in Poland, when we were in Poland to feed all of the refugees that were crossing the border. It was a beautiful kitchen, but we had to have flying generators because just for us to be able to like run that kitchen, we would have like shut down the whole city.
Wow.
So it all depends. Like for me, it's like I find a place. I just needed to have water, running water, hot water, and an entry so people can pick up the meals. Besides that, I set it up.
Wow.
If it's like I have to get tanks, if I have to get something electrical, and that's what I do. But that normally happens between 24 and 48 hours. because the need is like yesterday. That's what Jose
And also, I
says.
think what makes it harder for you is if you're the first one there, is when the disaster is more recent or the war and the need. So,
Yes.
I mean, after you're feeding people for weeks, maybe it's. I'm not gonna say it's better,
It is
but
but the situation gets better. Of course, like I say, when I was feeding, what just got to Poland and Ukraine, like I went to the warehouse. I was super excited. Yes, like we're gonna do this, and then boom, like we couldn't. I mean, that was a kitchen that took us like 48 hours. It was like, okay, we don't have a kitchen, but we're here. What do we do? Let's get hot chocolate. Let's bring them hot chocolate. The first time that I went to the war there, I mean, I think it's the first time that I've broke down, like from every single disaster that I've gone, like watching these women like cross the border. I was ignorant to the fact that they had been walking for days, that they have been like abused, or like for them to like just be able to like cross. My sister's a psychologist, and I called her and I was like, I can't do this. Like, but I was like sobbing. I'm like, this is too much. Like, how can I? And I was like, these poor people, like they're like suffering so much, and I can't. And my sister tells me, I remember she tells me, like, Karla, do not underestimate these people. What for you might be something very horrible because they're passing, and they're, for them is an opportunity. They have a chance at life. They are in a new place where they're gonna be safe, and you get to be a part of that.
nice.
And
It's
I was like, okay, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna go feed some people, and
great.
but therapy.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say something that will even sound silly after the seriousness of what you were telling me. But now I remember last time, and when we were, I think it was the Miami Open or F1, that you were doing
Miami
the
Open.
Tacotomia thing, and you were doing like 4,000 tacos or something
my God.
with like 2 griddles.
Yeah.
And like, no
Yeah.
shit, of course. I mean, of course you can.
I bought him like at a supermarket. It was like
Yeah.
the electrical griddles because it was like the kitchen that
Yeah.
like was outside. Yeah. That's
I mean,
adaptation.
I know, adaptation. I know it's very brave what you're doing, and I applaud and admire it so much. But as a chef, I know it also gives you so many tools, like I mean, to be creative, to find solutions, to create something that's an adversity into an opportunity.
You have to.
And I mean, it's a learning. I know it's
I
tough, but I mean, it's something.
No. It's everything is
yeah.
everything's learning, and I think like so I say I'm working at the bazaar, and I'm not saying that it's square, but yeah, it is square. It's a kitchen where like is strict but then you go to these places, and for me the fact how I see food changed a lot as well. Of course, you're a young chef. You're a chef. You think. And I applaud it, and I admire so much fine dining, Michelin, 50 best. I have nothing but respect for all of those chefs and people, and everyone aspires to be like that because you have to have so much discipline, and you have to have so much knowledge and practice and everything. But my perception of like food changed when I did all these activations.
Absolutely.
And as I say, I was training Michelin. I'm training Michelin stars. But when I go to every place and I do an operation there, I have to first study a little bit of what comfort foods are for that people. I don't think I can explain the feeling of like, I've never made borscht in my life. But I think until this day, I've made more borscht than anyone in Ukraine. In amounts, if you put it in kilos. So
exactly.
You know how many kilos of borscht I've made now. And it's borscht. For example, it's a soup. It's something, but when you see the power of giving something like that to someone that just lost everything,
Yeah.
the comfort that you can give them, even for example, in Ukraine, that you don't speak the language, and some of them didn't even speak English. You didn't have to.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
we care,
It's
and
a
it's not.
universal language.
You're not giving them a grilled cheese. I'm not giving them tacos. I took the time to learn what it was for them, comfort, and I want to give them comfort. So, in that, in all of the other countries, and for me, it was like, okay, what's comfort for me? Like, oh wow, like then what I learned with my grandmother is not that like blah, because you're like, oh yeah, cheese, oh
Sí.
corn, like, oh no, grandma, yo voy a ser un Michelin star chef, like, and then you go back to like, no, this is good stuff,
Of
like
course.
the food that gives me comfort, I want to share it with people too. So that's when Tacotomia comes in.
Nice. But before jumping into Tacotomia and continuing with your experience in high-end
Yes.
restaurants, I guess that's where you meet José Andrés, and
Yes.
José Andrés brings you to Bazar, no?
José Andrés after that.
José Andrés.
So I arrived in Puerto Rico in September of 2016. That's when it happened, or 17. Yeah. Then after that, his team starts like, send me your resume. I was like, no, I'm super happy in Bon Appetit. I don't want to go to Miami. People in Miami are snobs. I don't want to live in Miami. Like, no. It was like for 2 months back and forth with them until Jose calls me and he's like, are you going to send the resume or what? Like, yes, chef, right now.
Yeah.
Yes, chef, right now. I sent the resume, I think on a Thursday. That Friday, I was flying to Miami
Wow.
for the weekend. They flew me to Miami and I was at the SLS. And yeah, like everyone flew in, the corporate chef, blah, blah, blah. I met everyone. I was like overwhelmed when I saw the bazaar. My first thought, I think they're wrong if they think that I can handle this or that I'm good enough for this. Around 120 cooks, most of them males.
Wow.
20 servers, most of them males. 1 executive sous chef, 2 sous chefs, 1 pastry chef, all of them males.
And here comes young Mexican woman to...
That has never worked with Jose before.
Okay.
And he's offering him the position that everyone wants. People that have been working for years with him want.
I mean, definitely he saw something in you and he wasn't wrong.
But you know, right?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. But it's, I mean, you do your work, you do what you need to do, and the opportunities come to you because you're prepared, that you have demonstrated that you're ready for them. No? So
Yeah, I think, especially being a woman, I think you also put yourself in the role you want to be seen at, and I think for me, yeah, work hard, work hard, don't mess with anyone, just work hard. Of course, never let people disrespect you. But for me, that's what I do, like.
And beside the obvious, like, what other challenges did you face by being, again, a young
No,
woman?
it is, and I'm saying it is. I mean, throughout my whole career, it has happened. I've had challenges. I have people being discriminative. I have people being, all the words with me or try to be. I think if as I said, I think as a woman, you play the role and that you wanna be seen at. For example, purveyors will come to Bazaar, and I'm not gonna say names of purveyors, and there will be my 4 sous chefs and me talking. He will say hi to everyone but me, and then who will start telling my sous chef, "Oh, I have this product. Look at this, blah blah blah," and I will just like stay there and smile, and my sous chef and they will be like, "Okay, yeah, how many do you want, chef?" Blah blah blah, and they're like, "She's the boss."
Yeah, you have to talk to her.
Oh my gosh, the faces people would make, like, "Oh no, chef, yeah," and then they wanna throw like a sexist joke, okay? And my dad will always tell me, when somebody tries to make fun of you or tries to make you uncomfortable, make them more uncomfortable. Like if they throw a sexist joke, you turn around and you say, "I don't understand. What was it about?" No, but tell me, I want to laugh too. Tell me, like, I will do that to people, and people promised they wouldn't do it anymore. I was like, I play it dumb, like, but what was it about? Like, you guys seem to enjoy it so much. What was the joke about? no, nothing, not really, nothing. I was like, no, but tell me.
I mean, it's the best way to like
And just
disarm
be
somebody.
straight and yeah,
Yeah.
but it is hard.
Yeah. And but you, I mean, I think for the good, like things are slowly changing. There's
Yeah.
more women now in kitchens. There's not enough, but there's a little bit more uh, equality.
Yes.
And what do you think is your role? I mean, you are a well-known chefs in Miami. You've been leading teams, big teams. Like, how do you pass that leadership to your teams? I've been to Tacotomia. I think most of them are women, no?
Yes.
How do you pass that philosophy, that leadership to your team?
I think the first way is by example,
Mm-hmm.
and try to, it is different when you are like the end of the end of the chain, and
Yeah.
you're like,
There's no one to turn around.
there's no one to turn around to, and
Yeah.
it's a big responsibility, I think, for everyone, that's there, like you with your team,
Yeah.
or like and the hardest thing is to lead by example, because sometimes we flake, and we're humans, and
Yes.
sometimes we don't want to be the best humans. Like we just
Yeah.
want to have a day where we're like, screw everyone. But with my team, I do pay a lot of attention to that, because I think things that for us might be insignificant,
Mhm.
they see it all.
Yeah.
They watch everything, and it's a beautiful thing, but it's also a double-edged sword. So everything, of course, I think we're all responsible of like lifting. I mean, as an immigrant, as a woman, as a Mexican, or like most of my team, not on purpose, but it happens, they're women. And yeah, I mean, I try to teach them, I try to support them, I try to like, I have this lady, like her name is Lady. She started with me when her aunt used to clean my house, and she
Wow.
used to come with her aunt to clean my house. And she was 13.
Wow.
And I will be cooking, and she was like always like trying. I was like, "Hey, do you want to help me?" And she was like, "Oh, I want to learn."
Do you see yourself?
Oh, she's a
like,
lead at Tacotomia,
Yeah.
and then next year she's gonna go to college for culinary. I'm helping her.
Wow,
to
nice.
college, and she works in Tacotomia. But also it's very because in her family, no one has gone to college, so it's also a thing, like. So for her, it's like to let her know, like, hey, no, you deserve this. I'm gonna help you. Like, you're good enough. Like, you can do better. You can do this, and it's not always perfect, but I think just be that person that tells them, like, hey, there's a
can do it.
choice. You can do it. Like, what do you need? Like, you work hard. There's good stuff.
Nice.
Like, yeah, that's how I try to do it.
Good.
Maybe it's,
And after those experiences, I mean, now you're entrepreneur. You have Tacotomia, that's a fast casual Mexican something concept. I know you do a lot of private chefing, catering. Sometimes, I mean, I just listen to you all the things that you do. I don't know how you do it. I think.
work.
So
I
like,
hustle.
like I think okay, we live in different dimensions, and your day has like 40 hours,
No,
and
I
mine has
wish.
24.
No.
And so it's great, like the energy that you have and how you manage to do all those things. And I know, like working with for World Central Kitchen, like setting up those kitchens in record time, it takes a lot of, and maybe you don't internalize it, but it's like project management, team management. You need to be like a coach. You need to be a leader. You need to know operations, everything, no? And
Yes.
that's all knowledge that you're absorbing and learning, of course. Was it easy for you, the transition? I remember when we had conversations when you were still at Bazaar, that you wanted to have your own
Yeah.
company and you had that project. Was it easy for you, that transition? Like, did
No, it
you
was
thought,
not
I
easy.
got this? Or-
Not at all. Not at all. And there's still days where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? No, leaving Bazaar was not easy at all. And especially because I repeat, like I get to Miami and my first thing was Bazaar. And everyone knows me as a chef of Bazaar. And it was Karla, Bazaar. Karla,
Yeah.
Bazaar. Karla is chef of Bazaar. And it kind of like became my label, who I was. And also for me, like, okay, yeah, I'm the chef of Bazaar. Not that I was like, oh my gosh, I am. But so for me, especially, in Jose, I love Jose and I love the team. And also I felt that I was betraying Jose when I left. Because as like I didn't want to leave and I didn't
Yeah.
but I needed to do something, I wanted to follow
Yeah.
this dream that I
And
have.
from what you said before, I mean, you sometimes shorter or longer, but you follow. I mean, you have cycles, and after you're done with one cycle, you want to look for the next thing. And this is something that we've seen a lot, and with many chefs, like that relationship of mentor mentee. I mean, you participated at Lengua
Yes.
in the panel last year talking about
Yeah.
that. Um, Different chefs take it different
Yeah, I think
ways,
it is,
but
but
it's natural.
of course, but I think, as I told in the panel, I think mentors are great, but mentors show you who you want to be and who you don't want to be. And you see the best and the worst of them, because nobody's perfect, Nidal.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. And I think they're a guide to show us what we want to do and what we don't want to do. And of course, it's hard to leave a mentor, because a mentor teaches you to help them a lot of, they want the best for you, but also they want you in their team
Of course.
because you're the best for them. You know what I mean? And it's hard when you're like, hey, I want to go do my own thing. Of course, Jose always was supportive, but I know, like it took a while. For me, it was hard to like find myself, like in my career, in like who I was, into what if I don't do fine dining, like it's not gonna be worth it if I don't do, and it is hard. It is very hard. I remember like right after I left Bazaar, I spent like 2 months in Haiti for the earthquake, and that kind of like I was like, okay, I'm still good. I can do still the stuff that I do,
Yeah.
because sometimes I even thought about like not cooking anymore and just being like, no, I'm not good enough. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'd rather just not even start. And yeah, it is hard, but you have to just go right through it.
Absolutely. And with Tacotomia, you're putting together like your background, the food that you grew up with, but also the experience of like, and I'm not gonna say again it's easy, but like if you want to grow to multiple locations, you
Yes.
know a lot about processes, equipment,
So that was
logistics.
Yes, I love mass production. I love catering. That's fine dining. But for me, like the wonder of like cooking for thousands and still being good, of like and yeah, Tacotomia is, it's what I like to eat most likely. I like tacos. I like my steak tacos, and in my grandmother's house we eat them with with the red salsa. The carnitas you have to eat with, like, for me it's like Tacotomia. I wanted to show like what is Mexican food for
Yeah.
me, and like the one that I grew up eating, because
Well, I've never had a machete,
Machete,
before, and
that
it's
was
so good.
that was a rebellious thing for me, because I was like, okay, every taqueria in Miami has quesadillas, but I don't want to use any flour.
Yeah.
I want to like homenajear
Sí,
corn.
homage. Yeah.
And what can I do that is like a quesadilla, but people are gonna want to try it? Let's do machetes. And I had to like practice so much, like, because you have to do them by hand on how to do them. But like that's, and the idea of this is like we have a production center where I prepare the stuff once a week or twice a week, depends on if it's the busy season. And then it goes from there to the different locations. So everything tastes the same.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
so you have now 2 locations of Tacotomia.
so I have in downtown Doral,
Uh-huh.
in Doral Yard. We have in downtown Miami at Julia's. We have I mean, we're at the Chase Stadium on the Inter Miami
Okay.
Games, and we're opening. I mean, our commissary slash is gonna be the point of sale in November in Edgewater.
And of course, you do big events like you do the U.S. Open.
U.S. Open.
F-
We do
Were
do
you at
Miami
F1
Open.
too?
Yeah, fourth year. We've been in F1 since actually F1 is the reason I could open Tacotomia because I did a pop up before I even opened.
Okay.
So that gave me kind of like the funds to because I'm self funded to open
Nice.
my first location, and then it's the 4 year we do F1.
And how do you see Tacotomia in the future? You want to make it like a big chain? You want to keep it
I think
local, like smallish?
no, I would love to grow it, but I wouldn't do I don't think a chain because my idea with Tacotomia is very simple. If I do grow it, is my crazy idea of like one commissary is gonna fit 5 taquerias.
Okay.
And if we grow, we're gonna grow in like hubs of 5 at a time.
Okay.
Not that we're gonna do 5. I mean, I only have 2, but it makes sense. I'm not gonna go to Houston and open tomorrow. if
Exactly.
Just one store. Like I want to make sure that because I think, yeah, for me it's about the food. For me it's about always keeping the quality of the food. That the salt. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And what was the biggest challenge for you from shifting from a chef to entrepreneur? And I see you and you still cook. And one of the things that chefs stop doing when they grow is they stop cooking, which is
sad.
contradictory, no?
Yeah, it is sad because I think but I think I got to the point in my career where like I love Bazaar, but I was getting that I don't want to cook anymore mood. Like I'm so burnt out, and of course we think like growing as a chef is that I'm just gonna manage from like which is okay as well for
Yeah.
chefs if it works for them. Like for me, I don't think I could never stop.
So you're at the
Cooking.
commissary.
I'm at the commissary. Like for my taquerias, even if I'm like Sundays, like I make, of course, I'm not the one peeling the tomatillos, like, but I have a team that helps
Of
me.
course.
But I'm the one saying, okay, more serrano, more habanero, ta ta ta. We do the salsas, and I think it's very important, and I find joy in that. Like I love cooking. When I'm off, I cook. When I work, I cook. So. But with Tacotomia, it's like that, Of course, I'm not the one all the time at the taquerias making the tacos. But if you think about it, my cooks or staff, what they're pretty much doing at the taquerias is assembling.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking from a business perspective, you're selling food that is made by a chef, but
Absolutely.
a chef is not. I mean, I'm not everywhere, but
You can. I mean,
that's the idea.
Yeah, and that's all cliche. Even higher end restaurants, where sometimes like they don't see the chef there at the pass, and the chef is not here. And what people don't realize is one, you don't want to be doing the same exact thing for 8 or 10 years, and two, after like you create the dishes, you pass the philosophy of the restaurant to other chefs. There's younger chefs who are probably better at
Yes, faster, better.
cutting fish than
I
you
was
are.
never better than my cooks at Bazaar. Like
Yeah.
I could never run that plancha like some of my cooks did.
Exactly.
Never. No. They were so fast, they were so good, but I think also like us chefs, we're creative people. We create. And I'm not saying create and go, but I think also like, well, for me at least, I'm talking for me, like as I told you, I get bored. I need to create. I need to like see something else. I need to always keep my mind going with something, and either it's like making a new salsa for Tacotomia. Now I have a couple things that I want to do more with Tacotomia, and what is different, like it's hard to open a business here. Like
Super hard.
I have to say how much admiration I have for all of the business people in the industry in Miami. Like, oh my gosh, it is
It
hard.
is hard. It is. Yeah. It's just the responsibility of like even the payroll.
I
and
have to do
everything
payroll,
is-
like go through a high season to a slow season in Miami that is like 100% like switch.
Yeah.
Um
But it's very. I think what you're building is smart in terms of, I mean, I know you have a project to open like a, it's not going to be a fine dining, but it's like a nice casual restaurant that's going to be more expensive than Tacotomia. But if you have Tacotomia, that it's like a smaller, like a ticket,
Yes.
it's for local people go there on a regular basis. So the seasonality, I mean, maybe your finer restaurant be more, I mean, will suffer more the seasonality.
Yes.
But then you have other businesses, you have the catering, you do the private chefing. So
Yeah, I'm trying
it's-
to like,
yeah.
you know, like, and also like, and if I have the catering, for example, come the slow season, I have an opportunity to give my staff hours
Exactly.
because I have events. So maybe, of course, you know, the season in Miami is rough, but then I also have to think of ways because being a business owner, like, yeah, it's for me, but I have a responsibility with 12 staff members right now. And they have to bring food home, and I have to give them hours because I made a commitment with them.
Yeah. And talking about Miami and the seasonality, how do you see, what year did you arrive to Miami?
I think
2000
17.
2017, which I arrived 2015. I mean,
Yeah.
it has changed for the better, the city. Um, what have you experienced? I mean, you went from like working for like a good, like very well-known brand to being an entrepreneur. We have many friends from the industry who have restaurants. Some are doing better than others, but what's your take of the current state of the industry in Miami?
And
The
it
good
is-
and bad things.
No, I mean, if we're talking, first of all, I think the way it's grown in the diversity of foods that we have and quality of food, it's always better every year. And I think in the way of like seasonality, clientele, it's rough, Nidal. It's rough. I think of Miami as, you know, the restaurants in Miami, I think they're so like different. You know, you have the restaurants that a lot of tourists come to because they give you the experience. They
Yeah.
give you the
party
Instagram,
vibe.
the party vibe, the Instagram post, the I've been here,
Yeah.
the take the picture, the beautiful $1 million places, which I've never. I don't think I've gone to a lot of them. So
Yeah,
I
but
cannot they make
s-
money and
they
they
make
work.
money. They serve a purpose. They have
I
their
say.
clientele.
That's beautiful,
Yeah.
and they do good, and that's
I,
good. But
I came to terms with myself for that because before I was like, I mean, we're not gonna name them. We all know which restaurants are those, and then I used to be like, I hate them. I'll never be gonna
no, but
going
if
there.
they're
But,
making money, they're doing
I
something
mean,
good.
they employ a lot of people.
Yes.
They're good
pay very well,
businesses.
yeah.
Yeah, they pay well. I mean, not everybody. I mean, a lot of tourists in Miami, they want to go to the fancy restaurant, to the party restaurants. They're here for the weekend. They don't care about the little pop and mom restaurant that we might like or
Yeah.
care. So there's a public for that, and it's totally fine.
No, but they also give Miami the opportunity to bring more people.
Exactly.
To have a like, and I think we all, in a way, help each other, feed each other, and that's
Yeah.
what we're all about, you
Yeah.
know. And but you know, you also have the mom and pop restaurants, and that you and I go to eat.
Exactly.
And but I think, I mean, it is tough for you know, I think right after COVID also it was like a big switch on like a lot of people in the industry like did not want to work on the industry anymore.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend holidays working, did not, and they realized they could do other things for the same amount of money. And I do think the younger generation as well, you know, in chefs that so used at the instant gratification, you know, like before, like when I was a chef, like I will have to be on station like year until I
Yeah.
was like the master for the chef to even let me do something else. Now it's like, okay, I can do it. What's next? Like what's next? What's next? Like I already
Yeah, but before, I mean, your what's next was in years. Now it's in weeks or.
yeah, like for me, okay, I set up the restaurant. The restaurant is good. Like the stuff is
Yeah.
good. Yeah, but now it's like I already know how to do all the plates on this station. What other stations next? Like
Exactly.
is so I mean it is. I think it's a hard time right now for restaurants. I think it is. There's a lot of changes. I mean, in good. I think what's gonna make restaurants like survive is adaptation. Like we need to adapt to.
Yeah. But do you think, what is it like? Of course, we need to take out like 2020, 21. Those were like crazy years. Everybody was in Miami. Now I think we're back to normal. Like, is there like too many restaurants for the same amount of butts that fill the chairs? Is it like, is there, I know there's a lack of staff, both front of the house and back and kitchen.
I don't think there's such thing as too many restaurants. I mean, no, I don't think that. I think also I think people are also not going out. I'm not saying as much.
Absolutely, that's true.
I don't see if you. I was seeing like I was reading some projections on the news or something like how it has like this generation like how they're more eager to like take out or order Uber Eats, DoorDash, like those apps that they grew like I don't know how much percentage like right after pandemic, and now that you're in the comfort of that, and yeah, I think people, like they're more, and that also affecting restaurants. You see also like fine dining restaurants that would never think of doing takeout on Uber Eats.
See, there's I think there's a couple of factors. One, and we need to go back to the art of hospitality because you cannot get that experience ordering or anything.
Yeah.
But also what you say is true in terms of, I'm not saying there's a recession or anything, but yeah, people, I mean, if you used to go out 5 times, 6 times a month for a restaurant, now maybe you only go out 3. Or if you used to have a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, now you only have a glass of wine. And another thing that it's worrying, because a lot of revenue from restaurant comes from alcohol.
And people are not drinking.
People are not drinking.
People are not drinking. I was just talking to a friend that's a restaurateur, and she was telling me, yeah, we have the mocktails, but my profit margin is so much smaller because the juice costs more. That like all of it you have to do.
Yeah, but that's a paradigm because I think, I'm not saying that mocktails should cost, I mean, first, I think cocktails shouldn't cost $22 or $25.
It's crazy.
But I understand, I don't expect mocktails to cost $8. I mean, good mocktails,
like
they have a lot of flavor.
But I think, if you're talking about a mocktail that has like a fermentation.
Exactly,
and
a shrub and reductions
shrub
and everything.
It's a little more work than putting a gin and a tonic together.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I understand mocktails being pricey if they are good mocktails.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, just don't give me like what's the name? Like
a strawberry puree with...
Yeah, or a naked mojito, which is like soda with lemon. Like, come on. But if it's, I mean, I've had very good mocktails recently in Miami in some places and outside too. And it's... what I like about mocktails is there's a stronger connection of mixology and gastronomy.
Yes.
Because it's more, it's closer to creating a dish or cooking. And as you mentioned, there's fermentation, reductions, shrubs, syrups.
Or everything is. But yeah, I mean, I think, that's the drinking thing. It's a thing as well.
Absolutely.
So people are not drinking that much anymore. This generation is not drinking that much.
They do other things, but not drinking.
I know. That's the thing, but we can't sell that at the restaurant.
Exactly.
We can't sell that at the restaurant. That would be a different story. But I don't know. What do you think? Like,
yeah, I think we need to, as an industry, definitely seasonality. You need to be prepared for seasonality in terms of how to be flexible. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying just like closing some days or anything, but maybe the summer, the low season is the time to train your staff, to send them to stage at other places, to rethink what you're doing. And I say this very easily because I know there's less revenue and you still have all the payroll and everything. yeah, I think we need, and I always say this: we need to manage restaurants as businesses and not as restaurants. And when we talk about restaurant, the success sometimes is measured by the number of followers on Instagram or accolades or influencers or anything, but then you don't pay as much attention to your P&L, to your cost structure, if you're
Yes.
paying good salaries, if you're giving money to your investors.
Yeah.
So I think it takes, like, you need to go deeper into the business aspect of a restaurant,
Yeah. And I
manage
think-
cash flow and everything.
And I think maybe that's why a lot of chefs are not cooking anymore, because us chefs as creatives and still I still know chefs that they don't care about like cost and they cannot read a P&L and they make the best food.
Yeah,
But a restaurant is a business.
exactly.
And yeah, we can be creative, you can do all of these amazing things, but we have to sell it.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the ability to balance that creativity, that I'm not saying somebody who's not a good chef can run a successful restaurant, because you
Yeah.
need both. But I think that's something that there's more awareness of that.
But yet you
now.
have entrepreneurs that are not chefs that have restaurants that are successful and their books are good.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not saying that the food is the best.
Yeah. I mean, there
But-
are like a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't want like a chef driven restaurant. So they hire somebody to create the menu. But there's not a face. Like, I don't know, like, who's the chef of Houston's or Houston's? Nobody knows. And
But
it's
do you
like,
think that affects of like still more, like, do you think it's the same that was before or a little less now that people are like, oh my gosh, this is the chef, we have to go just because this
no,
chef is the chef?
it's definitely more like today, as I see it as a diner, people who understand the industry, people who know the industry, they look for the chef. I mean, at least in no, and not only fine dining, like also casual restaurants, like
Yeah.
the chefs or the people behind it, it's a guarantee of quality.
But a good experience.
Yeah, it happens the same like when a chef of a restaurant that you like opens a different restaurant. The same guys from X and Y restaurant now open this,
Yeah.
so you go there because you have a reference
It
for
is
quality. But then as you grow, and I bring back the example of Hillstone, it's one of my favorite restaurants, and it's a fucking chain with like 70 or 80.
And it's good.
And it's good.
And sometimes when you want comfort food, not comfort, you want a good,
Yeah.
you go there.
And going back to one of your skills and knowledge, it's all about standardization, processes, training the staff, philosophy of work.
Yeah. One very good friend once told me in Spanish, like we were talking about business and restaurants and passion, He told me like, okay, you love cooking, perfect. So you make money because you have successful business, perfect. But you don't have time to enjoy your money because you're always working. So why do you have money? I was like, okay. And then he told me one thing that, be passionate about what you do, but don't be a slave to your own passion.
That's a good one. I like that.
Learn how to exploit your passion, but make a good life for yourself because you're before like anything else.
Yeah. Like Paola, my wife, says she's a chef, but she works on like private chefing or product development. She says, I love my job, but I love more my life.
Yes, and she's right. And
Yeah.
and I think also in this culture of chefs that we have is like just work, which is, strict, but we need to not forget that we're also humans.
Exactly.
And we're also, like need that time, and we also need that, like, it is okay to not be on the pass all the time.
So
It is
don't
okay.
criticize when you go to a restaurant, you don't see the chef there. Don't
like,
criticize
we're
it.
humans,
Exactly.
like it does not mean that the chef did not started at 6 a.m., did all the prep, set up all the stations, and then went home to spend the night with his kids.
Exactly.
And have dinner.
Having talented people running the
Yeah.
kitchen and
And also we need to
executing.
give the opportunity for the next chefs to come.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think
Great. I don't know if do you want to add anything? Is there anything more that you want to share?
I don't know. I think no. I think we cover everything.
Yeah. Bueno, Carla, thanks a lot for being here. It's been I saw this as an amazing conversation like the ones we have
Yes.
all the time. Maybe I sometimes like I haven't asked you about your childhood or anything, so
No,
I'm
but
glad that
now,
you shared
yeah.
that story. And it was a pleasure to have you here. I admire you a lot, not
Likewise,
because
Carla.
of just the talent that you have, but all the time that you spend with like helping others. And you're one of the most hardworking, not chefs, not women, but people that I know. So I'm
Thank you.
super grateful for you being here.
No, I'm super excited. Thank you. It was such an honor.
No, thank you, and thank you everybody for listening, for staying here, and remember, support us by following us, by liking us, share if you like the episode, share it with your friends, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.